And this is a moon day and sun hour. Moon on the 11th degree of Scorpio, sun on the 22nd degree of Libra, ascendant ruled by Jupiter, 17 degrees Sagittarius. This is an interesting degree here, with Jupiter in the 6th house in Taurus, 12 degrees. So the topic of this episode is basically what we are not seeing. And whenever something is big on the news, like the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and now the Israel-Palestine, it's kind of like kind of like a puppet play where you pull the cards, like, oh, let's pull that string, oh, let's pull that string, oh, who's next? Pakistan and India probably. So meanwhile, a lot of things happen. It's not only a lot of disasters, but also the reason behind all of these supposed conflicts. And those of you who've been watching my channel, you can watch the charts that I delineate for the countries and what's the purpose of the foundation in each country. There are also positive things, but also the tactics of sacrifice that happen. You pay attention to how people die. This is a ritual, okay? It's a sacrificial ritual here. And it's nothing to do with Islam, it's nothing to do with Judaism, nothing to do with Christianity, and it's nothing to do with a cult, okay? Because when you do a cult, it's just hidden science, it's just spirituality in a hidden way and a ritual around it. When you manifest a happy relationship, you're doing a cult, okay? When you think positively and it will be positively, you're doing a cult, okay? When you draw in opportunities to get a job, you do a little tiny ritual to get a job. I want to get a job, that's a cult, okay? But there are other types of rituals like sacrificing dead children, like beheading people, and worshiping the beheaded ritual around this, with the belief that we sacrifice something and those deity will protect us or will give us longevity or will give us so and so and so. So, and again, it doesn't matter the name of the deities, because you can worship Allah by being kind, and you can worship Allah by killing all people in the world and thinking that this is what Allah wants. It's the same with a cult. It's the same with any deity. It's the character of the relationship that you create at the end of the day. So, so we have those things happening, and on a more practical, mundane level, I want you to take a look at the WHO. What were the World Health Organization, okay? Because whenever trauma happens, you need to take care of people. So whoever gets to take care of people gets the money, gets the funding, gets the activation, also gets the glory and the fame, but also they get the power to decide what's going to happen, okay? Who's going to take care of these people and how, and what do people give up when they go to that healthcare. So this was from 12 October 2023, amidst the I don't know how to say it, show of a war. It's not that people don't absolutely, people die and they're beheaded and stuff like that, but it's not like there's an Israeli-Palestinian conflict, okay? There is a puppet show where you pull a card, and this card could be Russia and Ukraine, it could be Pakistan and India, it could be Israel and Palestine, it could be any conflict you have in the world, it could be a supposed natural disaster, aka Maui, it could be all that. But then you gotta pay attention. If you can't listen to a woman sing, the world does not belong to you. You're creeping under, because the energy that supports your vitality, you are pushing it out, okay? If a child is not safe in their cradle, we are literally pushing the vitality out, because what's the symbol of life at its purest form is children. And so when children are being sacrificed, is actually going against having vitality and having fertility. And you see that on your day to day. Everybody's been working on their ancestral trauma, or they're going to the psychologist. Well, how was your upbringing? And you understand that your parents are not to blame because they grew up in a world war, and you get that those things don't actually yield well-being. Now, well, they look at what's written here. Who launches Who Eyes app on World Sight Day? Okay. What the heck? Who Eyes app can help people become quickly and easily identify potential vision issues that merit further by checking by a qualified professional, whatever. Okay, so they market to you something that says it's going to help your eyes. What they're doing, they're also taking a screenshot of your eyes. Okay, anybody that had to go, that had been a refugee, didn't have the passport or whatnot, and you have a biometric passport, you know that nobody asks for your fingerprints. They ask for your fingerprints when you issue the passport, but they didn't ask for your fingerprints when you lost it. Okay, and they didn't give you rights. They put you in the immigration. Okay, and then they deported some people. So you understand that nobody's going to use, whether it's the cameras, whether it's the eye screening, whether it's the fingerprints, nobody's going to use that when you need help. Nobody's going to help you. Now let's see what else is under that who. France's new global health strategy. Again, what is this new global health strategy? And why France? France was a founding member of WHO in 1948. Okay. Shares key priorities. And here we talk about a part of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Okay, this is what's going on, and why we have world wars. Okay, when there's a world war, there's a new order that is forming. Everything is orchestrated. It's not just, oh, how come the world war breaks? How should I say? Wars don't break all that easily. When people fight, what they usually tend to do, get angry. And then usually what happens is that there is a holiday, or there is some, a meal, or there's some party, and then they sort of like, they make up. Even if they don't like each other, they begin to tolerate each other. But to create an actual war and to sustain it, takes a lot of orchestration. And if you know, in the Second World War, there were the soccer games. And the soccer games were basically when there was a ceasefire, the troops from each side played soccer. And so, after you play soccer with each other, you're not that mad at each other anymore. And it's very difficult to shoot at each other dead. So, they were being replaced. They had to replace the troops time and time again. Okay, why do you see, let's take the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Okay, you hear about Hamas, then you hear about Hezbollah, then you hear about Al-Qaeda, and then you hear about the IDF, and then you hear about the US, and it's like, why? Because they're already prepared with replacing the troops. When that was in the beginning, where they just invaded, there was a story about a person that went to save his parents with a unit, with a couple of soldiers, and I think it was two people, I don't know if they were from Hamas, that infiltrated the house and wanted to kidnap the parents. His mother prepared a meal for them, okay? While when he came, they knew how, they knew the forces knew each other's tactics, so they said, no balagan, okay? No mess, okay? And they had a warm meal from the one side and the danger of a big mess from the other side. So they knew the tactics, they knew each other, and eventually the parents weren't kidnapped because the troops basically knew how each other works. They knew the tactics, they knew how to work with each other. And these parents were saved. The other ones, unfortunately, no longer with us. Together were sacrificed. But you understand that to sustain a war, it really does take a lot more effort than we think it takes. To sustain a conflict, we're afraid of conflict, but to sustain a conflict, it takes a lot of hard work. So there's prepared chaos and prepared diversity. A woman in France was arrested for saying Assalamu alaikum. Okay, what is Assalamu alaikum? It basically means may peace be unto you. I kid you not. That's what it means. Okay, and you have demonstrations pro-Palestine, but no woman, no pride flag. In Texas, no woman, no pride flag. And so immediately this creates antagonism. It's like, okay, so they're not so they're probably killing their own women and LGBTQ, and now they want to come here. What will a free person think? I had a Facebook friend that was threatened by a crime organization that she's going to be raped and murdered while walking in the park with her doggy by Israelis. It's not Hamas, not nada. Okay? So this is crazy. And to sustain this crazy, it takes a lot of effort. So why would anybody invest all that much? Well, because there is some structure that is being built, and now that's a whole lot of chaos that people don't want you to look at it. Now let's look at what is this 2030, the Sustainable Development Agenda. And of course, they're going to name it something nice. 17 goals for people, for planets. Okay, so let's take a look at the symbols. The picture says 1,000 words. So we have buildings, we have healthcare system, we have supposed gender equality, education, water, computers, birds, justice. Yeah, it looks with a lot of nice pictures. But what's underneath? Okay, here's the summit. Okay, there was a summit in September 18 and 19. Okay, Edge Summit, a decade of action. Okay, September 2019 is global action to secure great leadership. I want to say it again. The US Secretary General called on all sectors of society to mobilize for a decade of action on 3 levels. Global action to secure greater leadership, more resources and smarter solutions for the Sustainable Development Goals. To secure greater leadership. Okay. What does it tell you? There are some leaders that want to lead the world, the entire world, and they're being secured. And they're taking global action to secure that. One of them is throwing chaos at your face. Local action, embedding the needed transitions in the policies, budgets, institutions, and regulatory frameworks of government, cities, and local authorities. This is the cameras that you see in the cities. And cutting off trees. People action by youth, civil society, media, the private sector, unions, academia, and other stakeholders. These are the women at Harvard that said it is okay to rape women, supposedly for the liberation of Palestinian people. You know, the women at Howard. But could you study at Howard without agreeing to this? No. You could not get into Howard without being a part of that egregore. to generate an unstoppable movement pushing for the required transformation. Okay, what you hear here, this is Hamas, Al Qaeda, and this and that and that, and all those internal organizations that are, what is this private, what is this people action? Okay, is threatening you to obey. Numerous civil society leaders and organizations called for a super year of activism. At the core of 2020 to 2030 decade, the need to take action to tackle growing poverty, empower women, and where are the empowered women and girls? I don't see them. I don't see them. I see dead women and girls. Climate emergency. I don't see it. More people around the world are living better life compared to just a decade ago. Well, is it still true? Not anymore. So, inequalities and climate change are threatening to undo the games. That means there is an organized action to to do something else. Frequently asked question, what is sustainable development? Here you see none of that. Eradicating poverty. Well, what they mean is basically working camps that are concentration camps, and you don't come out alive from there. But there's another question, and this is not about the WHO, because this thing is even less the problem, and I will tell you why. 3 decades ago, there was a Holocaust. So, but not only for Jews. There were concentration and working camps in the United States. A lot of the building of the Israeli settlements were pretty much forced labor. People wanted to kill themselves. Okay, the pioneers. They believe that the work is liberating, that the Arbeit macht frei. Okay, this is the essence. And it sounds reasonable. It sounds very reasonable. If I don't do for myself, I will not have. But there's another reasonable thing. And the reasonable thing is that people do get tired and people do get sick and people do need to rest, because the cycles of creation and decay are a part of nature. Solar, lunar. Here's cycles of creation and decay. And it means that the schedule for action, for creation, and for rest needs to work accordingly. Or people die, they get sick. It's not unknown, it's been known. It's just that when people want to interrupt with this natural cycle in favor of killing people, then they have values that they said, Arbeit macht frei, הנוער העובד והלומד, okay, the learning and working youth, okay, and those places that market labor as a value, those are what you should be cautious from. Not because you don't work in life, okay, if you have, even now I'm in a room, I'm not next to my garden, I put some garlic in the water and let the garlic grow. That's all I gotta do. Then if I find some soil to plant it in and water it, lovely, we grow together. Yes, of course, you do work. Of course. But it's not a big deal. It's a part of life. It's not something to talk about. Do I talk about when I brush my teeth every day? When I wipe my ass clean? Do I talk about this? Okay, maybe if you are a child and your parents show you, how to clean yourself, but is it something that is becoming of a value that you need to put flags next to? That you need to educate people to do? No. You do what you need to do, and then you rest, and then you grow, and then you enjoy life, and then you play, and then you sing. This is life. This is life. And then if a person is sick, then people are with them until they recover. This is life. It's when we, the people, live by the values that exterminate us, that these things have place to flourish. The fertile soil for this structure to grow is the belief of people that if you are poor, then you made bad choices in life. That if you are not working in the 9 to 5 in the same way, the same rate, then you are lazy. Okay? That we can't really care of the sick and the elderly. We can't really care of the people. Okay? This is the fertile soil upon which those things grow. And this is we, the people. It's not who, it's not 2030, it's not Israel and Palestine. It's the values that we consume that eventually consume us. And this is what we are tackling right now. You can escape a Holocaust, but if you go by the values of Arbeit macht frei, you will create another. For yourself too. It's very easy to see that it's not okay for people to work barefoot in the snow and share a piece of bread with each other until they die. That is very easy. But to say that, oh, well, why haven't you gotten to work? Well, it's my moon day. Well, how many of them you have? Well, 7. Have 7 moon days. I'm tired, I need to be asleep. Well, how will we work if 7 days a month you don't work? Well, that was before the vaccine. After vaccine, I even got twice the moon days. So even less work. It's life. How will we feed you? How do people feed people in Africa? That they have people who are sick, who are elderly, and they still feed them and they still take care of them? How come? Maybe because trees are growing freely. Maybe because the soil is organic. Maybe because the permaculture exists. I'm not saying everything is okay, there are things to change too. Yeah, a person is a person. Whichever tribe you are from, a person is a person, and they should be respected, wherever they are. So, if you didn't leave me a place in your world, then there's so many people who are not a part of this. And we began to see, okay, why can I not work? Maybe, oh, my body senses that it's not yielding. 20 years they planned what is going on right now in the world. At least 20 years. So you go to work, it seems like the reasonable thing to do, and it's like, but it's not yielding. There's something here, there's something you don't know. What is that? Some people even went to therapy. Say, I don't know what is going on with me. There are things that I know I have been through in life, but there are things that affect me and I feel I don't know where they're coming from. They were coming from these plans that are being made, both what's happening in the world and what is happening right now that people felt even decades ago. Why are you on welfare? Because I got sick. How did you get sick? I went to work, I got sick, I went to a crisis, and then I couldn't stand on my feet, and then I couldn't talk, and then I wanted to unalive myself, and so they said, okay, go study. I said, okay, I will go study. But then I said, okay, enough. I studied now. I want to work. Why is not yielding? Why is not happening? Like I know that I like to do things. I have value to bring to the world, and I'm not afraid to, like, it's not like I'm afraid of work. I just want to be healthy when I'm working. That's it. Not to work on the account of my health, but the work actually is good. That is good for my health. And how to do this? Well, they created a concentration camp. And what allowed them to do this is our perceptions that we can at any time change. Just a consciousness changing is a tremendous way of tending to it. Just a consciousness changing that which we thought is going to kill us, which is the elderly or the sick or people who have menstruation or whatnot, we thought is going to make us weak society. It's that which makes us stronger, because it reminds us to rest, to look at life, to live a life. It's those people that we thought, oh, they're probably with the devil, they gay, they this, they that are actually seeing life from a different point of view, like the shamans that had two genders. So they were seeing the world from two genders. And then everybody would go to consult them when they had a problem, because they were seeing the world in two. And they had a different point of view that perhaps could give you some insight. So these people are not of the devil. Let alone what is the devil, but So eventually, when we talk about health, it is biodiversity that makes fertile soil, that makes fertile immune system. Immune system is strong, it is good. There's biodiversity that makes it. But if you clean everything and separate everything and distinct everything, you weaken what people call the race. You weaken the people. Of course, to wash your hands is good. Yeah, of course, certain levels of hygiene is good. But in general, the little bit of dirt, the mixing of things is very, very important for the immune system and for society. When you are hungry, where do you think you find food? Every supermarket has a garbage can. If it's a small supermarket and they didn't close the garbage cans, like they locked them in the United States, then you find your food at the garbage can. You and the cats. Now, if you ate clean your whole life and never played outside, you're gonna take one grape from the garbage can, you're gonna die. You're gonna be poisoned. You're not gonna make it. So underneath all that we see in the masquerade of world wars and nuclear disasters and whatnot, what you're basically seeing is a certain structure that is not based on health. Think about the person who is sitting in the bunker. So for whatever reason, sitting in the bunker, you don't have sunlight, can't really connect with people. You don't get to play in the beach. You don't get to eat from a tree. You don't get to do these things. Okay? It's not a place upon which you can build a structure to sustain you or the world. But we can blame those people in the bunkers, or we can begin to open our mind to, wait, if I, let's say, open a store. I said, when I saw the US, you saw my other video with the US letters on the walls here in the southern Israel. And I said, well, you're in the United States. If Muhammad doesn't come to the mountain, the mountain comes to Muhammad. And you say, I couldn't travel to the United States. I didn't have enough money to travel to the United States. I wanted to do the Road 66. I have a driving license, that is universal driving license, and then travel. And then, I don't know, go back to Europe, to Israel. So the thing is that if you travel the Road 66 and you have a dog, there are many cafes that won't let you get your dog in. And I said, well, this is a blue ocean. If I open a network of like cafes, just something simple, and I have a business, an equal dividend business, like that pizza where the employees make like $70 an hour, even more, just because of the equity thingy. And I have this business inclusive, so if somebody's menstruating or if somebody is sick or whatnot, it's okay, it is more flexible, and the expectations of the people are going to be a bit more flexible. If an Israeli travels to Sinai, they're used to, like, you order the meal and it will come in the coming hours. Okay, it's a different time set. You got to get used to it. I've never been there, but it's a different mindset, it's a different spirit. So I said, if you do that and you can put dogs in, then that's a blue ocean, something that wasn't here before. So it really is up to we the people to understand, what do we want to create instead. A lot of things are being ruined right now. What do we want to create instead? And to have that a place where we are happy to sustain ourselves, we're happy to live. If we go by the values of Arbeit macht frei, we are recreating another Holocaust in a little village. That's the thing. And there are alternatives. This whole thing, like the spiritual thingy of this, is probably so that we will go to more life rather than to all these things that eventually lead to people thinking that they can sacrifice beheaded babies and rape babies and women and men. Okay, men are also raped and beheaded in this work, and we talk about the men victims. We talk about the fact that it's also not okay to rape a man, because that's the silenced thing, and men and soldiers are being raped even within the armies. So this is something that is important to discuss, to put out. It's not just women and children, it's also men. And they're entitled to acceptance and recovery and time and validation, just as any of us. So those things that create this beliefs that we should sacrifice people to being raped and murdered, and tortured in hope that we get protection, is really a big deal. Is what I don't like seeing in the world. When I see a pro-Palestinian demonstration, I see only men, I don't feel safe. I could see the same flag with the pride flag, and men and women, and I said, this is a dream. When I see groups of Israelis threatening LGBTQ, saying they're traitors, this is killing every value upon which any tribe, land, nation, peoples are established upon. And so we can turn to those up there. But those up there, Pluto is in Capricorn. It's going to leave Capricorn by 2024. The end of 2024 is no longer in Capricorn. C'est tout. Voilà. Hasta la vista, baby. Can't cry about the church, can't cry about the regime, can't even cry about the hidden occult, can't cry about any of that. It's going to be the structure outside of the structure. What they are trying to do is to have a one world structure so that they can sustain Aquarius. But that one world structure is currently a concentration camp where people are destroyed. To create an alternative for that, we need to be an alternative for the Arbeit macht frei. We need to be an alternative of biodiversity instead of eugenics. How come you have so many shores of the American dream is having a couple of acres, a couple of Goldens, a couple of children, and a van or a truck, and having the Goldens and the children, and going to the creek and swimming. That's the American dream. That's the American dream. How come you can't have a Golden inside a cafe in the Road 66 in the United States? You think this is bullshit. It's not. It's not. This is what people work hard for when they do. It's not. Rest is equally as important as work. Okay, Saturn, the lessons of Saturn is rest is equally as important. It's not about working hard, it's working correctly. And I gotta tell you, my mama used to tell me that because I had a problem. My supposed laziness, I felt helpless, okay, and that expressed itself as laziness, but it wasn't the laziness of not working. It was the laziness of working like an automatic pilot because I felt so helpless. And again, laziness is helplessness in general. There's not something to judge because when you really rest and relax, then, and I found it difficult to rest and relax. So my work was sometimes not so efficient because I didn't rest enough. Okay, that's also Saturn. And you'll see when you grow, Saturn also rules agriculture. When you grow the plants that you need to be growing, for every person, the different plants that they need to be growing. Even if you have money and you don't need to rely on agriculture, it's good for your health. And when you grow the plants that you need to be growing, you see that your intervals between labor and rest, they begin to transform a bit. Suddenly you're able to do that extra step. Or suddenly you're able to take that extra nap that you weren't able to take before. Those things are crucial to be able to build and sustain a structure. There's no such thing as laziness. And if your coping mechanism is to work because you cannot rest, then you are also not lazy, you are also in a coping mechanism, okay, an automatic pilot called labor. It doesn't mean that it's the best solution. This is where you are right now. You should not be judged for it, but you can also not judge the people who are resting. When you rest a bit more, they can have more energy to work a bit more. Not because of, sometimes people see it as like, oh, I will just sit there and, oh, yeah, now that I'm sitting, you start working. Now that you have made the time and the energy for yourself to rest, the other person is feeling less drained. Because if two people, let's say, are living together, and one is working all the time, working, the other person is becoming exhausted because you're working with two energies, your energy and the energy of the person that you're with. And then when you are resting a little, now the other person has the ability to shine. And they're going to do things differently than you. Just also letting go of that control and allowing more space to be. So, This is where I see, if you ask me where's the opportunity is in completely transforming, for the most of us, the way we sustain and making it more accessible and easy and joyous to live, to work, and to be a part of a functioning society. Okay? Now, I know I have Uranus in the 10th house, so I'm the person who is the leader of a revolution rather than the leader of the day after the revolution. So, but it's a good thing because I have Ketu in the 10th house, and that means that by the time that I make the revolution, in the day after the revolution, I will not nag your asses because I will be doing Rahu. I'll be doing Rahu in my 4th house. I will be retired. So me being retired is not bad for society because my 10th house is a revolutionary and a reactionary, and I am here for you in the times of the revolution, while in the times after the revolution, other people will take my place and I can retire safely. So my job is to sustain the revolution of values into such that I can retire with ease. Okay? And then on that note, I'll say, if you're a revolutionary, if you're needing a free reading, okay, if you have a transit, you need a free reading, I can't say that I'll be able to contain everything, but probably there's good reason for that. And if I can give you a message that's helpful, I understand that for now, a lot of people can't pay. I do have a PayPal if you can pay, but the best payment for me would be to know that you'll be there, that you'll think about what these values, that you'll act for these values, that you'll make the necessary changes in your life, that you house the people that are next to you, that you hold a place, because money is changing and resources are changing as well. So the best dividend that I can get is from your ideas and for how perhaps we can collaborate. And so my page is open for you to request a free reading. It's Talishir on Twitter, Strudel, TALISHER, and you can DM me. And whenever I'm able to do so, then I will take on that reading. I will record to you probably what I have to say. Yeah, also, yeah, I'll record to you, I think, what I have to say. Or I will voice record and then it writes like, yeah. So that way I can make my own contribution with the tools that I have, and that is astrology. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.